You know what time it is. We're gonna stand. We're gonna stand and sing. Come on in. Standing outside the door of love and mercy, you wonder if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, still you're searching for someone who understands the pain you've been through. Where the Father waits with open arms, He's calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home, you are loved. No matter where you've been, come on in, come on in, come on in. You'll find a place of rest and illumination where God within you helps you to light your way. He knows the peace you need and the hurt you're feeling. He longs to hold you and to wipe your tears away. Where the doors are locked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved to belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, come on in. Where there's room enough in this home of love for someone just like you. Welcome home, you are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Welcome home, you are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, come on in. You didn't hear Tampa, come on in. All right, way to start it off. That's wonderful energy this morning. Thank you.
Hello. There we are. Hi, everyone. Welcome, and especially new visitors. If you'll raise your hand if you're here for the first time, we'd love to just say a special hello. There we have one in the back. Thank you so much. We have a flower for you. And right behind you, after the service, you can pick up a T-shirt. So come over to Fellowship Hall and meet us afterwards. Thanks for being here. You can get updates from your Sunday bulletin, your email newsletter, your Facebook website, check in on social media, but silence your cell phones, please. Ask an ambassador, who's got the badge on today? All right, there we go. And so if you have a question for anything about unity, you can go, and I'm having a brain. Julia, thank you. Thank you, Julia. Sorry. Yeah, it's Sunday morning. Okay. It was. That's right. It's the only day. It's after Saturday night. All right. This is look at our fabulous Earth Care team rocks. And they were at the Bee City pollination event helping out. And that is green. That's green. It's beautiful. Thank you all for the effort you make for our beautiful Earth. So, YOU Chapter X is virtual YOU group for those 9 through 12. So if you have anyone 9 to 12 years old in your house, see Heather in Youth Ed or visit the website, and you can find about YOU Chapter X. A lot of little letters there. Heart of Healing, Unity World Day of Prayer, September 13th and 14th. And there'll be more about that, won't there? Okay, sign up online to be part of the Unity World Day of Prayer. Vision board is so much fun. I have been there. So if you have been there and you need a checkup and you need to have a new vision, or you just want to be there for the first time, because it is really great. And so with life coach Julie Baum on Saturday, September 23rd from 2 to 5. Empower yourself and manifest your dreams. And that's what we're dreaming about, snacks. I know it. It's in this fellowship hall, so it'll be there afterwards. And if you'd like to help, you can sign up or you can just bring something. So, ooh, this is nice. All right. And now for birthdays, and I'm telling you, September 7th is the busiest birthday of this month. Tim Brensko, Martha Hayes, myself, and my twin brother, all on the 7th. So, happy birthday.
Lovely.
To
Let's sing
me.
them happy birthday, shall we? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God loves you. Happy birthday to you.
Morning. How's everybody? How nice of you to show up today. Really, Labor Day weekend, a lot of people skip church. And I get to be with you, so I feel very blessed. Thank you for joining today. I have to show you my gift to myself. This is my new podium. So Jeffrey put it together for me. I picked it out, but this is the cool part. I have a little shelf. I have water, Kleenex. I have stuff now. And before I forget, I wanted to mention this. So there are we have a lot of books. If you need books, could you please take them? And if you have friends in hospitals who need books, or in rehabs or therapy or places, we have books. And there's this lovely lady about an hour and a half north of here who's been sending more novel type kind of faith books. And we now have 6 or 8 of them. I put 2 up here to remind myself. But if you're visiting people who need something good to read, I think there's a lot of stuff over there now. So feel free to grab a book. I also want to first welcome back Gina. I think we don't see you very much, so thank you, Gina and Ken. She's traveling all the time, so I never get to see her in person, but it's good to have you guys back. And Debbie, welcome. Debbie listens to us sometimes online, and is here from Pennsylvania. And this is her, she just moved to Tampa, so it's nice to have her here too. So thank you all for being here today. And to our online audience, I want to say this. We really appreciate all the messages we received during the hurricane. It was incredible how many people checked on Unity of Tampa. Thank you for that, and thanks to all of you for checking on each other and all of us, because it just shows how important it is to be a good spiritual community and watch out for each other. So I just really appreciate that. And I know Steve Goodman isn't in here, but when you see him, can you say thank you to him? Because he comes in and out, but he's always helping us in the kitchen, taking out trash, and Mike Major too, always helping us. Thank you for that. We have so many people who help, and I feel like I miss names every single week of people who go out of their way to help us. So thank you for that. All right, the last thing I just wanted to say, I forgot. So Pat thinks she has problems, but I'm going to let it go for now. I'm sure it'll come back to me. Oh, I didn't forget. I wanted to take a moment. I just wanted us to take a moment to pray. It's been a really busy week for a lot of people in Florida, and it's been stressful. So I just want to take a moment to say, thank you, God, for keeping all of us safe, for the empowerment of faith that helps us take the best possible attitude at times when we're fearful. And we affirm that our prayers are supporting those who were not as fortunate as us and who are trying to find new homes or fix damaged homes. So we hold our entire community in prayer. The state of Florida, those impacted and those the storm continued to impact. We trust that as we hold the highest level of consciousness, we are bringing peace to everyone. And so it is. Amen. All right, let's join together in saying our prayer for protection. Everybody remember it? Yes. Okay. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And I'm looking forward to our talking to you today about spiritual imposter syndrome. By the way, I didn't tell you, this is 6 inches shorter. So I actually have more than a head now online. So I feel really excited about that. All right, I am not reading today's daily word, so please don't think I lost my mind. But I wanted to read yesterday's because I feel like it really aligns with today's message. It's about being free. It says, I am free to be me. There may have been times in my past when I felt I had to keep a part of myself hidden because I feared I would not be accepted exactly as I am. Today, I leave fear behind. I'm ready to live fully into my identity as a beloved child of God, expressing uniquely as me. I accept and celebrate all aspects of myself. Even as I grow and change, my divine identity is my anchor. My connection with God tells me I am worthy, deserving of all good things, opportunities to shine, being welcomed and accepted for who I am, as I am. This awareness is the key to my freedom. I need not rely on approval from other people to know that I am valued and blessed. The Christ within is my true identity, and I am wondrously, gloriously free. Out of my distress, I called on the Lord. The Lord answered me and set me in a broad place. And that's from Psalm 118. And I also want to just mention, and thanks to Elliot for reminding me yesterday, actually, next Sunday, I would love it if you could join us here because my mentor is flying in on Wednesday. And so we have Friday together, Friday night board dinner, and Sunday he will be here to visit our congregation for the first time. So it'd be great if he had people that know this place and are comfortable here and are part of our spiritual family as you are in person to join us and to greet him. So thank you for that if you're available. And Pat, I just want to say happy birthday to you and thank you for all you have done for Unity of Tampa for more than 2 decades. We appreciate you. All right, I'm turning it over to you.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, you know what I'm going to ask you to do. Go ahead, get on your feet. Put your hands together. We're singing I Am a Light. It goes like this. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. In this world. In this world. In this world. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. In this world. This is the place. This is the time. So let it shine. Yeah, let it shine. I see the joy. I see the joy. I see the joy. I see the joy in this world. In In this world, I see the joy. I see the joy. In this world, yeah. In this world, this is the place. This is the time. So let it shine, yeah. You let it shine, yeah. Gonna give a little love every day.
Give a little love every day.
Gonna give a little love every day.
Give a little love every day.
Gonna give a little love every day.
Give a little love every day.
And spread a little peace along the way.
Spread a little peace along the way.
Yeah, right time,
Right time,
right place.
right place.
Spread a little love. Hey, come on, Chris. Every day. Hey. Yeah, boy. Chris Myers. We are the light.
We are the light.
We are the light.
We are the light.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
We are the light.
We are the light.
We are the light.
We are the light.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
This is the place. This is the time. To let it shine. Yeah, let it shine. This is the place. This is the time. Hey, you let it shine. Yeah. That's how it's done.
Lucky are we. That was awesome. Thank you, guys.
So that's our sing-along for this month, probably. We'll
Well,
see.
you know, I was missing the old one, and I heard Jeffrey singing it this morning, and I said, you know, we're done with that song? And he said, I know, but you get me started on these things. I said, well, we're learning a new one. We're going back to a new one today. And then now I'm going to never complain because that was such great energy. Thank you. We needed that. I needed that. Yeah, thank you. All right, I have two really great stories. So one of them, I don't see Barbara today, but Barbara gave me this one. And this is about a dog care clinic in Sri Lanka. And the reason I love this story is because one human being who was visiting there changed what was happening there. And when that happens, I always just feel so inspired to think one person made an observation and did something about it. So apparently in Sri Lanka, there are 20 million stray dogs living on the streets. They suffer from hunger and untreated disease. Diseases which actually can affect humans and other animals. So a woman named Marina Mobius saw the issue during a vacation in 2004, no less, opened a nonprofit dog care clinic and funds over 50% of the operating costs herself for this clinic. Crews round up sick, mistreated, or homeless dogs and cats daily from the streets and bring them to the clinic for evaluation. Animal services include consistent neutering programs to reduce the number of stray dogs and cats, mass vaccinations to reduce disease, minimize risk of rabies to humans and animals, treatment of these animals, and increased understanding between dogs and humans, advocating for responsible pet ownership. Euthanasia for animals that are not treatable is also provided. So she and her volunteers believe strongly in a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, "The greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated." Anyway, I thought it was just beautiful, and I appreciate this. And so this other one is from Kathy Johnson, who gets our stories ready for us. And this is a really awesome story right here in Largo. So a woman named Tanya Curler, who lives in Largo's Down Yonder Village mobile home park, noticed last week that a large tree limb had fallen on her neighbor's home. Well, her neighbor is 84, and he also cares for his daughter, who's not in the best of shape health-wise. So Tanya said she knew he couldn't afford to have the limb removed, so she turned to social media, and the response apparently was overwhelming. She put out the call for help on the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. Jerry Bowen, the owner of Jerry Rigger's Crane and Tree, said he saw the post and he offered to remove the limb, which normally he would charge $6,000 for. And he did it for free. She said he did it out of the goodness of his heart. He isn't asking for anything. He didn't want any publicity. She said, and while this world can be ugly at times, today it showed how good people are. So thank you, Kathy, for that. Love these stories. And we're going to get ready for meditation so we can prepare ourselves for our message.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Sanctuary for you.
And so we take time now to recognize that part of our spiritual growth comes from understanding the importance of going within. Not trying to solve anything inside, not trying to look for answers to our challenges, just going within to strengthen that connection we have with God. It is through quieting our minds and calming our blood pressure, letting our heart rest quietly, that we're reminded of the steady beat of empowerment that exists within us all the time. So I invite you to just take a few cleansing breaths, breathing in all the positive light and energy you need, and letting go of everything that is no longer needed in this moment. And as you continue to breathe and calm yourself, and quiet your mind. Just let the words I'm going to share enter if they're right for you, and you can let go of the rest. Today, I celebrate my authentic self, the core of my being, the gift of my life. It is through my inner being that I watch the world unveil itself to me. Like everyone, I am a unique spiritual being who can show my authenticity to others without fear and stop living by the standards people keep trying to set for me. As my authentic self, I view myself and others through a spiritual lens, seeing God within me and within them, and allowing the light of their soul to shine back at me. And when I do, I give others permission to share their authentic self with me. I listen intently. I open my heart, not my mouth. There's no better gift I can give the world than to be my true self and allow others to do the same. When I let my divine light shine brightly, it serves as a beacon that helps me live without fear, loneliness, and depression. And at the same time, I'm able to hear the needs of others and know where I might be useful in any given moment. It is the true purpose of my existence and the best means I have of expressing my godliness. I am free to explore and discover, and free to express my talents and my gifts. And so I rest in the silence now and take this in. I trust my inner compass to help me find my way to truth and to reveal my heart center. And so as I slowly return to this moment, feeling refreshed and relaxed, I open my heart and my mind to what is mine to learn today. And I am at peace. Good morning, Logan. I know you've already had breakfast and you're probably ready for lunch. So today we're going to look into spiritual imposter syndrome. Now, I didn't know this was a thing, but I learned it was. And after I read more about it, I realized how much we've all experienced it. So I thought it would be good for us to take a look at this today. And I want to begin by asking all of us to think about a time in our life when we intentionally pretended to be okay when we were not. How many of us, whether we were feeling depressed, having a hard time, maybe physical pain, maybe emotional pain, maybe disappointing news, frustration and anger with somebody else, but somebody came along that we know and said, "How are you?" And we said, "Oh, I'm good. I'm fine." Maybe even struggling financially and pretended to be just okay, when the person standing in front of you might have been actually able to listen and allow you to let some of that go. So, as humans, we often make these conscious choices to steer others away from seeing our truth. And I don't know that I can speak for everyone, but I can definitely say for me, it's the shield. If I look back on my life, it was the shield. Stay in the bubble, stay safe, just protect others from seeing in too far, especially through all my health challenges. I just could see on people's faces they didn't want to hear it. And since it lasted for years, I didn't blame them. But I didn't tell people anymore. And that was a bad thing for me. But it's not just that. It's not just our health challenges. But the truth is, anytime we pretend to be something we are not, I'm good, but I'm not really, we're just being imposters. And what we have to remember is that behavior is driven by the inner conflict we have with our own identity. Who do we think we are, and then who do we think others want us to be and want to see us as? And after a while, it's exhausting. Who do I think I am? Who do other people see me as? Who do I need to be seen as? Who do I want to be seen as? Who are we? And when does that end? I don't think it ever ends. But if we don't know how we perceive ourselves, we can't begin to understand where to fix this. So we have to start thinking about ourselves. But where spirituality comes into this is spiritual imposter syndrome is very similar, only this is focused on the impression that we give people that everything we're doing and experiencing is grounded in our faith when it actually isn't a reality. And I started thinking on the way here, it's those times when we say, well, my life's a shamble, but divine order will prevail. Okay, those two things don't go together. They can't. Because you seeing your life as a shamble already says you didn't have faith. So we need to be mindful of the things we're actually saying in those moments. But there are reasons that we behave this way. So we need to give ourselves permission to understand this. And maybe if we understand the 4 key reasons that we do this, we wouldn't do it anymore. So there's this great article. I found a ton of reading material, but one of my favorite articles was entitled The Fourth Horseman of Spiritual Ego, Spiritual Imposter Syndrome. And the reason I really liked it is I liked how they laid out what this looks like in our daily life instead of just theoretically. So the first cause, there's 4 I'm going to share. The first one is misconceptions of what it means to be a spiritual person. This was probably the one I related to the most. As soon as I read this one, I remembered being a kid, going to church, and watching people who were like, good morning, it's so lovely to see you. And then in the parking lot cursing because someone parked too close. Or gossiping about somebody. You know, good morning, oh my, have you seen how she looks? That kind of stuff. And I used to call that pretentious. I probably used the word fake because I probably wasn't old enough to know what pretentious meant. But it was that pretentiousness. And Stephen Furtick points out that these ideas of what we think it means to be spiritual, they become these unconscious beliefs in our heads. And it leads to the perspective of what is and what isn't a spiritual person. Oh, well, they're not kind, they're not respectful, they don't talk about their faith, they don't treat people well. All these things that we have created that have nothing to do with reality, they're all in our heads, just like mine was. Where did I get the idea that that was supposed to be a spiritual person, that they couldn't be human? But I love what he says. He said the minute, though, we start developing what isn't and what is correct, we start creating separation between ourselves and others. We compare ourselves to the high standards we have set or others have set for us, which, by the way, we're never going to achieve in reality. And this is when our self-critic starts to talk to us and tell us all of why we are not good enough. And he reminds us that just the label spiritual person implies that there are unspiritual people. And if God exists in everyone, how is that even possible? So the mere fact that we'll say, oh, they're very spiritual. You've heard yourself say that, haven't you? Oh, I really like them. They're so spiritual. Well, so somebody else isn't because they don't act the way you've decided they should act. He says you cannot segment the spiritual into the unspiritual, no matter how much your ego may want you to. Sure, some people have a deliberate spiritual practice, others don't. But spirituality is inclusive, not exclusive. And it has nothing to do with yoga postures, meditation, or knowledge of the chakra system. That's what he said. It doesn't stop people from having preconceived ideas about what makes a spiritual person. The bottom line in this first one is that we can't call ourselves people of faith and see separation between who fits and who doesn't. So let's just stop doing that. One power, one presence, no exceptions. The second cause of spiritual imposter syndrome is called collective spiritual bypassing. Never heard of it before. But as he explained it, I totally get it. John Wellwood wrote this section, and he did a great job. He said that when we try to deny or resist difficult emotions or thoughts or behaviors that we think don't qualify as spiritual, we suck it up, stuff them down, hold them in, because we've got that gauge on ourselves. And then he said, if we have moments where we behave in ways that don't fit the template, we immediately start chastising ourselves and calling ourselves weak or seeing ourselves as failures. We're not tough enough. When you were younger, did anybody ever say, "Oh, toughen up. What are you crying for?" You know, it makes me think of the old Raymond shows. The father was always saying, "Suck it up, Nancy," to his sons. He actually used Nancy, which I always found offensive. I always thought the guy was talking to me. It's probably why I kept stuffing. Seriously. But he also says that we may be with other people and sense they're holding back, that they're stuffing how they really feel. And if we could be sensitive to it ourselves, we would know when they need us to be able to be present without that need to say anything or judge them and allow them to express their true emotions. When we know someone is on the verge of tears, just like I hope they do with me, we should be the ones who say, "It's okay. You don't have to hold back." That's what's important. And remember, I had talked a few weeks ago about how hiding from our shadow self just gives it power over us. So we definitely don't want to keep stuffing. Now, the third one is super interesting too. This is called projecting gold, which is beautifully described this way. Inner gold is the highest value in the human psyche. It's our soul, the self, the innermost part of our being, and it is us at our finest, our 24-karat gift to ourselves. However, Robert Johnson explains that having those gifts can be this huge responsibility as well and force us to feel intimidated by not wanting to share the truth of ourselves. So we're just so excited about something great and we have this wonderful share and we get the look. And so what happens? We start holding back our gifts. And we've all done that. We have all held back in moments when people thought we were overdoing it because we didn't fit into their standards. But I love that he said this. He reminded us that within the shadow side of ourselves also exists our best talents and the potential for us to be more. And so we have to be mindful of projecting our gold in positive ways, ways that helps ourselves and ways that helps other people hear us. And last but not least is focusing on spiritual experiences versus spiritual practices. And this section was addressed by Sri Ramana Maharshi. And this is what he said. He said, I'm paraphrasing, by the way. Basically, he said, many people have spiritual experiences. They have these big awakenings, these moments, these epiphanies. And he said, you know, it could come in the form of many different things, an energy high, a burst of synchronicity, divine guidance. But he said, when we get caught up in trying to measure or compare these experiences with others, we become imposters. He said, we risk the imposter syndrome by sharing them with people with some level of pride that makes us look better than them. Oh, well, you have no idea what I experienced. As if our experiences should be compared. And he says that we need to focus instead on our spiritual practices avoid getting caught up with overexcitement, and ground ourselves to avoid reinforcing our ego. He says the only image for us to carry out is our Christ consciousness. That's the only image. That's what keeps us all equal, all born of God. And if we could see each other through that spiritual lens, would we ever be imposters? I don't think so. So there was this article that Pope Francis was talked about in this past week. And what caught my attention was it said, Pope Francis gets blasted for calling the U.S. Catholic churches backwards. And so, given he's the Pope, I thought it would be really interesting to find out what his perspective was. So I read the article, and when I did, I felt some of it aligned with spiritual imposter syndrome, the way he described it. Here are just a few highlights I wanted to share. He said that the conservatives and the progressives have divided based upon their versions of accepted standards for spiritual practices. He called the practices in the U.S. backwards and warned that such an attitude would lead to a climate of closure, which would be wrong. He said, doing this, you lose the true tradition and you turn to ideologies to have support. In other words, ideologies replace faith. Now, he got called out for it, as you can imagine. For one, that he's too focused on social justice, such as the environment and the poor. They also believe it's unconventional for him to allow divorced and civilly married Catholics to receive sacraments. Now, the point is that he stood up to what he thought was an imposter syndrome of his own church and wanted people to recognize that they will break apart and create greater separation with that kind of mindset. It's these types of beliefs and behaviors and practices that start to create our own lack of self-worth and our own problems with our ego. Most of this mentality comes from human ego, and unfortunately, that's the part of us that we try to protect other people from getting to, because we want, if our ego's not there, we feel too vulnerable. And that's why we pretend. But if we're going to be empowered people, call it spiritual, don't call it spiritual. If we're going to be empowered, then we need to be able to operate more from our heart and not our head. Think about our own standards for acceptability. Begin with accepting ourselves. And stop that feeling of unworthiness and self-sabotage that we do. Eventually, we will begin to operate from our heart center, and imagine what life would be if everyone projected their gold and everyone came from their heart center. Let's review today's lessons. Discovering spiritual imposter syndrome occurs when we learn to first allow oneness to exist in our mind and heart. There is no separation between us. Number 2, stop living by other people's standards. We are individuals. We are not clones. Number 3, express ourselves authentically. Hiding our emotions just builds negative perceptions of ourself and our shadow self. Number 4, let our heart versus our ego lead the way so that we're empowered through our divinity. Our affirmation that I chose to have today was, I am living as my divine self. So let's say that together. I am living as my divine self. And the quote I found from Faith Hannon was really beautiful. It says, as long as you let the imposter syndrome have a voice, you'll never achieve all that God has for you and thoroughly enjoy doing it. Let's take that in. So we pause for a moment to think about how grateful we are for all this ability we have to change our thinking, to change how we feel about ourselves, to change the limits we put on ourselves, to break through those barriers and be able to be free enough to be ourselves. We recognize that it all begins with one person, so if we do it, someone else can do it, and so on. And we recognize how blessed we are for all the opportunities that life presents us to see things rightly in our own moments. And so it is. Amen. Do you have a prayer need for us today? If you do, please fill out one of the prayer cards, put it in the prayer box, and I'll make sure it goes out tomorrow to everybody. One of the things I try to point out in unity that I feel is very important for us is to remember to be abundant in our thinking, to be prosperous in our thinking, to when somebody comes to us and says, can you loan me $10, not to hesitate to give that $10, because once you let go of something, you start to create the energy for it to keep going and come back to you. And so if we are always afraid about money, we don't have a good prosperity consciousness. And at Unity, we have a positive prosperity consciousness. So we thank you for supporting us. We hope you get your spiritual food here in some way. And we say our affirmation together to affirm that. We have faith in God as our instant, constant, abundant supply and supplier. We have faith in God to open ways when to the human sense there is no way. We have faith in God to guide us in all our ways, and our health, happiness, and prosperity are assured. Thank you, God, for your abundant good, now flowing forth to meet our every need. And now let's invite our children down.
Feeling good, like I should. Went and took a walk around the neighborhood.
So today we explored our creative abilities and we worked on our service projects that you all get to see next Sunday.
Nice.
And we are now going to bless not only our lovely children who are here, but our children also who are out of town and visiting other family and everywhere else. So we get all of our energy built up from our hearts. We say, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. We love you, we really, really love you.
My love is stronger than yours, is stronger than yours, is stronger than yours. My love is stronger than your hate will ever be. My faith is deeper than yours, is deeper than yours, is deeper than yours. Deeper than your doubt will ever be. We move through the world like shooting stars across the sky, splitting through the darkness, putting a light into their eyes. Oh, is louder than yours, is louder than yours, is louder than yours. My laughter is louder than your shouting will ever be. And my dancing is better than yours, is better than yours, is better than yours. My dancing is better than your marching will ever be. We move through the world like shooting stars across the sky, splitting through the darkness, putting the light into their eyes. Oh, 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 we move through the world like shooting stars across the sky, splitting through the night, putting the darkness in your eyes. Oh, 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 we move through the world like shooting stars across the sky, splitting through the darkness, putting the light into their eyes. Oh, 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 my love is stronger than yours, it's stronger than yours, it's stronger than yours. My love is stronger than your hate will ever be. All right, thank you. A little something different. And now we can stand, we'll join hands, we'll sing the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now let's join together in saying the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is right. God bless you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank